like, the admin center and from where you have to go. I mean, I always feel like if I had the system with me and then I would follow the steps, it would be much easier to do it myself and read it through. Then, it remains in your head. At
Of
least
course, of course. So you still don't have the
never.
system?
I think I do. I need to talk to them. I didn't get the time to talk to them. I just spoke to them right now, but I will do it today. Today for sure I'll do it.
Yeah, yeah. Because yes, of course, if you don't have the system, you keep on forgetting these things. I mean, see,
Yeah, I
watching a
won't
video is
remember.
different thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
watching a video is different thing unless you practice on the
Practice it
system.
yourself. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. So what we did yesterday was our corporate data model, right? I hope
Yeah,
that is
corporate
clear.
data model. Yeah.
Okay. Now we will jump on to the next one, that is your succession data model and foundation object. So when we move to the object part, then of course your bigger chunk will come. Bigger chunk as in wherein you will have to start working on the system. Till now, it's quite you know the back end part or the theoretical part wherein you're just understanding the data, what kind of data is there. But when we jump onto the object, maybe today itself or by tomorrow, I will start giving you some assignments, small
Okay.
assignments. Yeah,
Okay.
so that you can have you have some hands-on practice on the system and you start learning about it. So we did talk about corporate data model. Let's talk about the succession data model. That goes in the same way. First, what your organization says, what are the information that are required for your employees' data. So any information or data that talks about your personal or employment information for any user are succession data model. So if I tell you what's your first name, last name, address, dependence detail, email ID, your bank detail, everything that is related to your personal information is succession data model, and anything that is related to employment as well as. So in a nutshell, I can say anything related to an employee is succession data model. Now you can ask me that, okay, I have a business unit wherever I'm working, and you're saying the corporate data model also has a business unit. How is this different than this one? So when we talk about corporate data model, I say I am setting the structure of my company, wherein I say business unit will be a part of it. That is mandatory. That in my organization, business unit will be a part of the org structure. So I can tell you that okay, there can be 10 business units in my organization, then there can be 10 departments. But as an individual, you will be assigned with only one department, right? If I come to your organization and ask that, okay, what is Jean's department where she is working? They will say, okay, HR department. So that is specifically for you, right? That means I am talking about you right now. I'm not talking about how many departments are there in the organization and how many business units are there. So when we specifically talk about any individual or any employee, any data related to that person will be called as succession data model. Like as I said, your personal information and your employment details. Like what is your job information, who is your manager, who is your HR, what is your job grade, pay grade, all these things. When we go to country specific data, again, any particular detail that is specifically created for that particular country. Like we talk about our national ID. So we have Aadhaar card, PAN card here in India. But when you are in Canada, I'm sure there is another national ID,
SIM card.
maybe
It's a SIM card.
SSN card, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just like you. So, but that is nothing. Again, a national ID, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We call it with a different name. We have different formats, but again, all of them are national ID. But that SSN is actually applicable only for US and Canada, not in India. So what I'm trying to say is anything, any detail that is actually related to a particular country will be called as country specific data. Like when you give your address, Canada address, you must be using county or something like that. Here in India, we use state, tehsil, pin code. You must be using some zip code or something, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, based on the country, when we change the details, it becomes country specific details. What is the best part with it? Your 70% of the work you will be doing in succession data model. Why? Because that is related to employee. Now, let's go to this and see. First, of course, if you have to manage this, any data model, your provisioning will be there, just like we did for corporate data model. But because this is related to people, what SAP said, you have to come again and again and do the changes. We have 10,000 employees, there can be any change required for any country. So you can't go all the time to SAP or your consultant to make these changes from backend or from XML. Plus, even if I give you XML access, there is no surety that you will update it correctly, because those are things that mostly consultants do. So there is a risk. What SAP did, SAP provided this on your home, I mean, your instance itself, that you can manage your succession data model only from your front end. How? Let's go and see that. So we go to admin center. Go to admin center and you search for manage business configuration.
So why did we do duplicate?
I'll show you with an example. I'll open another employee, the next step, and I'll show you the example so that you can relate to it. I mean, that's not a compulsion that you have to do it. I'll just show you an example so that you can understand. That's why. Yeah. Now, here when I go to manage business configuration, this is the page you land on. Now, if you go to this, the back side, I mean, left hand side, you see all these informations are nothing but either your personal information or your employment details. Let's go and see that one by one. If I go to your comp information, that is related to your salary, again your personal information, direct deposit, your bank details and everything, email information, emergency contact, employment details. Just like that, you keep on going and you just see till the end. It will either be your personal or your employment details, because that is your succession data model part, wherein you are actually managing your succession data model. There are two things. If I go to this, employee central and employee profile. So we'll come to employee profile later when we talk about HRIS thing. But just to give you a little glimpse, employee profile include those data which comes as a standard from SAP. So there are a lot of fields, lot of information which comes by default with SAP. Those are kept under this, and that's why these are called standard or employee profile details, like your biographical information, background details, user information. Few of the basic informations will come along with it. So if you remember yesterday when I showed you that uh, core data model wherein user ID, first
Yeah.
name, last name were there, these
Mm.
all these will come here. Like if you click on any one of them, so this
So I can change this format, right? Yeah.
format as in
This,
this one.
yeah, this,
Okay,
all this.
you can do it, but never touch anything in this standard template.
Oh, okay.
This is what provided by SAP. If you do, there can be some consequences on your data. So SAP
Okay.
always says, don't touch this one, use it, the way you want, you can integrate it, do it, but the labels and everything, don't change it, especially these identifiers. Whatever you want to do, you can do in employee central. What is the difference? In employee profile, you just have these information. There is no date involved. I mean, the history cannot be seen. You can't go and check the history and stuff. But wherever dates are concerned, effective dates are concerned, that always come under employee central.
Okay.
This HRIS element. So if you remember yesterday, I showed you this HRIS element,
Yeah,
location and
yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
just like that. So I go to this and I click on any one of them. You click on any of them. First of all, we'll see succession data model. So what is succession data model? Of course, globally. So I say globally, if I go to anyone, so let's say I take national ID for an example. I click on national ID and you see in national ID, what my system says, based on this national ID, these are the important details that you have to give when you update your national ID. So let's go and see with one example. I go to Steve and I click on his national ID information. Okay. So what do we have? System says you have to fill in your country. I have the country, right? And that is a mandatory field, correct? Then we have national ID card type, national ID card type. That's it. Then national ID, the number you give, if this is a primary or not, and if you have any attachment or not. So I say, okay, attachment is also there, and is temporary and stuff like that. If that is there, you use it. All of them. Now, you said, okay, these are there, but of course, when you update your national ID, you don't update it globally, isn't it? You update it for a country. You are in Canada, you update it for Canada, correct? So that's what we called as country specific. So this is the global one, but if you want to update any country specific data, you have to click on this drop down. Okay. The moment you click on any one of them, all these which are outside are global. The moment you click on it, it becomes country specific. It shows the country specific data. So see, all of them are country. All countries codes are there, like ARG, Australia, Canada. All them are there. So Steve is from USA. I go to USA. I said, no, this should not be called as social security number. It should be called as SSN. Okay. And I click on save. See, that is changed.
Yeah.
So anything, not only this, if you want to make any other changes, you can do it. This is the display format. There in your document, it is there how to. So it's very normal. I mean, if you want to pick only numeric one, you will write N. Wherever you have to write something uh, alphabetical, you will say A to Z. And this is the regular expression means. So \D means this denotes the numbers. The first I said there should be three numbers, right? And then there should be a hyphen. So see,
Okay.
that's what
Yeah.
I have. Then there
Yeah.
should be a two number. Okay? So just like that, you set the format. Not only this, anything else if you want to do, make any changes. Let's go to any other details like your let's say job information. If I go to job information, all of this are there like position, entry date, time in position, company, business unit. So let's go to this. See position, entry date, time in position, right? Company, business unit, division, department, company, business unit, division, department. All of them are there. based on that. Now, if you want to make any changes into it, like I want to fill in this information from 8th of December, any one of them. Like business unit is not a mandatory field right now. See, but I said I want to. So you, if you want, you can change the name. You click on details, you go and you say mandatory, should be a mandatory field. So what I'm trying to show is whatever data in succession data model you want to make changes or create, you can do everything from here. You don't have to go to that
Everything,
HTML
but
again.
only under Employee Central, right? Only under
In the employee.
Employee Central.
Yeah, yeah. Don't change anything in the employee profile. That is
Yes.
especially the standard field. Yeah. Refresh it.
So how does it look for a user, like the business user? They don't get this configuration part, right?
No,
You see?
no, no. As an end user, you only see this. Like, see, this is changed
Yeah.
to mandatory. And like as an end user, you see only this. Either the home page,
Mhm.
you see the system like this. First,
Mhm.
you will jump onto this. And then if you want to, you can go to your, all of this will not be available. Only employee
Uh,
files
Files,
and
okay.
few more things. Based on your
Okay.
permission, you will see. You will go
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
to your profile and you will see that like this.
Okay.
Yeah, this is how it works. Now, you can tell me, you can ask me rather that okay, SAP provided most of the things from our data model, but that's not necessary that I want only these things, right? The company might require something else as well, correct?
Yeah.
Maybe based on country or globally, they also might need it. So, of course, if this is based on country, you click on this drop down, you go to that particular country, and you define anything that you want, correct?
Yeah.
But what if they want something globally or anything? I mean, either globally or country specific, a new data they want.
Mhm.
Then what?
Like a
Then you
new
will have
field, you're saying?
new field, correct? If they want a new field, let's say today we have this work from home and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
you want to say, okay, now I want to add another field called work from home so that people can mark if they are working from home. So that is already there. Let's take something else as an example and see how to create a new field. Why I'm showing you this? Because of course, when you start working, these
Mhm.
things will come up. And even if not, they will ask in your interview. So you should know about it. So let's go to this. Wherever you have to create a new field, you just go to that link. So I want to create a new field for job information, let's say, for example, under my job information data. So of course, I'll go to my job information.
Mhm.
I click on job information. I come to this place, this, right? And at the end, I have this field option, the custom string. Let's go and see that first, what all I have got here. So this is my job information, and I see how many days. See, test classes, native, all these are additionally added here. Correct. So
Okay.
let me.
Sorry. Where
Mhm.
did you go before? Where did you go?
I I just went to employee data, employment details,
Uh-huh.
and under that we
Uh-huh.
have job information
Okay.
because we are making changes in job information, right?
Yeah. No,
So
but
I went.
did you add a field? No, right?
No, not yet, not yet.
No, no.
I'll just show you now. So I'm
Okay.
just showing that you can see there are some fields called test,
Yeah.
chroma, test classes, native. All these are there because they are added. So let's go and see that. First of all, let me delete it, which we don't want maybe. Now, I said I want to create a new field. So first of all, you'll go to the end and you will choose one custom string, whichever are available. So I have custom string 6 available right now. And I said I want to create a new field called anything. Name any field that you want to create.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, there is a work from home. No, I think. Right.
Work from home is
Canada.
there. Let's see. And where do you want to show it? So I said I want to, because the job
Job
information
information.
is not job information. It includes org details and everything, right? So I
Mhm.
said I want to show it under job information, correct? And do I want to enable it
Yes.
right now? Yes, correct.
Yeah.
That is done. And more, if you want to make characteristic changes, you can do it from here. Like if that should be mandatory, that should be a pick list. We'll talk about this later.
So can you do enabled from a effective date?
Not here, not here.
Not yet.
Whatever
Okay.
you create, that will be available from that day based on your permission, not
Okay.
from effective date. So I said I will now save this data, correct? Now I saved it, but there is a cache. The cache is whatever field you created, it's not necessary that you want to show it to everyone. Maybe a field is only created for HR department, correct?
Yeah.
So now system says you have created it, but now you have to give this permission to somebody who all can see it. Because by default system will not be able to understand who should it be available for. Sorry. So for that what we do, we go to another tab or another path that is called, that is something we will talk in detail. We go to manage permission roles, means I am going to a particular role and I'm assigning this particular permission so that they can see or edit this information. So I go to system admin. You're getting me right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I go to system admin. I go to system admin, click on permission. Why? I'm giving you permission now. Okay. So I click on permission and then I go to employee central effective dated entities. Why? We made these changes in that employee central. It will most probably be here. So we go and we search for our data that we created. We created Canada. Didn't I save it?
Canada
Hmm.
embassy, right? It was embassy. No, it should be
I
up,
did.
right?
Yeah, it should be there. Let me see.
Can't you search?
Yeah,
Yeah, there it is.
that is already. I don't know how it appeared, but yeah. So what you did, you click on all of them. Okay.
Okay.
So what is this? This says, do you want to view the current information? Do you want to view the view history? You want to see the edit? You want to edit, give the access to edit and insert, and also correct and delete. So whatever you want, you just do it. And don't worry about this. We have a detailed lecture on this. We'll talk about it in detail. So I said this Canada embassy is there. I click on, but I created this just right now. How that is selected, I'm wonder, but okay. This is enabled. Now I have this data. I refresh it. See, Canada embassy is now
Yeah.
available. The other things like Roma and test, everything is gone because I deleted it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how you will be able to create a new field. And system people will ask you to create new fields again and again. They will ask you in interviews and stuff. So this is how you will create a
Mm-hmm.
new field. I'm not talking about object right now.
Yeah.
Just talking about a field. Okay.
Okay.
Object we will do later after the foundation object and stuff when we are done with that. You see, now you can go because you have edit option, you can write anything. Yeah?
Mm.
This is how you do your changes. I mean, create a new field under anything,
Okay.
under any data that you want. You just go to that particular link, click on it,
Mm-hmm.
and you start creating. If I wanted to create it for country, I'll go to that country, let's say
Okay.
Australia. There also you will find those options.
And if it is for global, then you go
Then you go outside here on this link. You don't
on
go to the
that screen. Okay, okay, okay.
this one.
On that one, yeah.
If you want to go for a country specific data, you just click on this drop
Mm-hmm.
down and you
Yeah.
find that
Okay.
country. Done?
Yeah.
Okay. So now two things that you have to practice. First, whatever I showed you in corporate data model, so that is your manage org team job structure. What you have to do,
Practice what?
yeah, telling me. So you go to manage org, organization and pay structure.
Mm-hmm.
No, I forgot. Manage org. You go to manage organization pay and job structure. What you have to do, you just have to look at all of them. Although I will explain you again in detail for the objects why, because when you start creating there will be some error that you will find. Like if I click on business unit, see the alert will be
Mm-hmm.
there. But if you go to some
Uh,
other objects,
what
mhm,
is MDF?
I'm coming to that. That is an object, so I'll explain you in detail. Don't worry. Yeah.
Because I read that in the document and I was trying to
uh,
look for the full form. I couldn't get it.
that, oh, full form is metadata framework.
What is it?
Metadata framework.
Okay, okay.
Huh? And
Okay.
what is that? I'll explain you in a while. Don't worry. We're coming to
Okay.
that. Yeah. So what I'm saying here, when you go to this, so few of them, if you click, that will
Mm-hmm.
appear and you'll be able to use it. But few of them, if you click on them, it will throw an error. Like business unit, if I click, why it is coming, I'll explain later. But what I need from you is, you
Mm-hmm.
just go to this and
Mm-hmm.
click on each one of them,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever comes up, just create one value for it with your name. Why with your name? So that it will be easier to check. Okay. So you
Okay.
can say, okay, you use your initial and then let's say anything code,
Okay.
business unit,
Okay.
something like that. Not in
Okay.
entire name. Anything that will be easier to understand and easier to find.
Okay.
So you just create it and then we will see how you created in this search option.
Okay.
Okay. First thing. Now, after the corporate data model comes your objects. What are objects? I told you all the data model, data and everything. But if you go to any employee, you see all these details. And under that detail, you will see lot of fields, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Anything that I update in the system is a data for it.
So
If I go
basically,
to,
sorry,
no, no, fine.
anything relating to object is basically a company and org structure, right? It's organizational, anything, any object, like we have object ID for a position or an org unit or something relating that. That's what it is, object.
No. So object,
No.
yes, that is also object. Everything that comes in a cluster is your object. Like if I said this is our personal information, okay?
Mm-hmm.
These are called portlet and these are called fields.
Mm-hmm.
But If I talk about company, that is an object for my data. Object why? Because
Mm,
based on this object only I define what is your information.
mm,
Although whatever I update, that is the data. Data is everything. Correct.
mm,
If I change your
mm,
last name, first name, address,
mm,
anything, that is a data for system. But what they did, they combined all the information or data in clusters, and those are called as objects through which you run your system.
mm,
How? Like company is an object. What kind of object we will see. Based on that object, you create your fields and define your information. Let's go and see that how. Objects are of two kinds. One, foundation object, another generic object. Foundation and generic. These generic objects are also called as MDF objects. And that is what you write, that
mm,
MDF. So these and generic are also called as MDF. Why?
mm,
We'll come to that later. First, let's talk about foundation. What is foundation object? Foundation objects are nothing but those objects which came from your legacy system, through which this is the base of your system on which you actually create your data or system. How? SAP is our legacy system for SuccessFactors, correct?
mhm.
And when we started our license and data, so we had few objects that came along with it. Those are nothing but the same that I showed you with where is that gone? This, that's what I told you. The corporate data model came and all these objects came along with it. You can't edit anything here. You can just go and add values in it. Do you remember?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
these are your foundation objects because that came along with your system, that is called from SAP. You didn't create anything, all came along with you. Initially, when I bought the license, with my license, I got this all
So basically, it's more standard, right?
standard, correct. Anything that standard comes along with your system
Mm,
or legacy data, that is called your foundation object. Why? Because based on this only you are actually creating your entire system. So first is foundation object. But of course, when you're running a huge system, or only these 10, 15 objects will not work, right? Like
yeah.
we have COVID today, COVID situation. And now in order to fight with COVID, we need a new object called, let's say, work from home. And
Mm,
under that object, I will have different fields. Okay.
mm, mm,
That will define how it should run, how it should work, how many days you took, or if you are on work from home or not. Things like that. Whatever field you want to, you can add on.
mm,
Now what? For that, what we do, we create our own customized objects.
mm.
Getting me?
Yeah.
So when you create that customized object, those are called your generic object or MDF object, means metadata framework. Means you are creating a new metadata for your company. Metadata is nothing but the minute structure of your system. All those information, if you break them into pieces, those pieces are called as metadata. So I'm just saying that a new framework I'm creating or new information I'm creating in the system, that
Mm,
is why it is called metadata framework,
mm.
right? So
Yeah.
that is why that is called generic object. Now, the foundation object is also of two kinds. One is called non-MDF foundation object or legacy foundation object. Another is called MDF foundation object.
Mm,
What is that? All foundation object that initially that came, all of them are your legacy foundation object, you can say, or foundation object, of course.
mm,
But what happened? We are pretty much dependent. We were actually pretty much dependent on consultant, because if
Mm,
I had to make any changes, I had to go to XML, as we
mm,
did yesterday. Now that was a task. Any company spends a million on this, and now they are still dependent on SAP. It doesn't make sense, right?
mm,
If I have to make a change, I have to go to SAP or consultant. Again, if I go to consultant, I have to pay them. Correct?
mm,
Again,
mm,
expense for me. So what SAP said, no, that can go longer. What they started doing, they started moving these objects to MDF. Why? So that just like manage business configuration, you can maintain your system or maintain your object as per your requirement. Like I have this location as an object, and tomorrow your company says, okay, along with geo zone, I need another field here. Just the way we added for job information. Getting me?
yeah.
But you can't do it right now from the system anywhere. You have to go to XML. You have to go to provisioning. Now that is a compulsion and also dependency. To what SAP did, they started moving everything to MDF object. Now I can't do anything here right now, but if I go to that MDF one, like this business unit, which is moved to so business unit, let's say for an example, system says now this has been migrated to MDF. MDF path means where you create your generic or MDF object as per your requirement. Done?
Mm.
Are you getting me, or is there any confusion?
No, no, I'm getting you.
So if I go and I say I have to make any changes in business unit, I can go to this MDF object and I can create it, which I'll show you later. But let's talk about first this foundation object. Now, if I tell you, I give you an example. Initially, we had, let's say, 50 foundation objects that came along with your success factor. Okay.
Okay.
Now, what SAP said, they saw this problem and they started moving these foundation objects to MDF. Correct. So let's say they moved 25. How much are left? 25.
25.
And I said the one that I moved to MDF are 25. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Can I say these are still those foundation objects, the legacy one, because that are already there, still there?
Mm-hmm.
But these are since moved to MDF path. Now it can be called as MDF foundation object, although they are also foundation object. But now since we manage it through MDF, it is called as MDF foundation object.
So why have they sent it to MDF to customize those standard objects?
Correct. Like as I said,
Mm.
in location you can't make any changes right now unless you go to
Yeah,
your
employee
provisioning or
center.
XML.
Okay.
Correct. But
Mhm.
if you go to MDF or generic, which I'll show you, you can create your own object as you want.
So the screen which you showed me, that foundation screen, like, can you go back to this? Yeah, this screen here. Here you cannot do any change, right?
No, no,
Okay.
here you can't do it. If you ask me to add a new fields under location, I can't. I have
But
to go
then
to.
yesterday, you showed me that you went to the code, that XML, and you added that code one, right?
That's what I'm saying. So we have to go to XML, right?
Yeah.
And that XML is not available to everyone. But right now, after I think
Okay.
since last two releases only, you can see those XML here now. SAP
Okay.
released it now. Otherwise,
Oh.
till last 6 months, it was not
Mhm.
available. You have to go to provisioning, which was only available to your SAP or your consultant, which was a task, which was also, you know, cost involved in it. Correct. So we were very much dependent on our SAP or consultant, which should not be the case. Correct. If I have bought this, I should have access. So that's why SAP moved everything here. But now still I can't do anything unless I go to XML for this.
Okay.
Now, if that is done, let's go and see that. So now I can do it. So that's your first task. You go to this manage org pay and job structure, and whatever you find from the top till the end, please create a value.
Okay.
So that you will also have some idea what all fields are there.
Okay.
And then we have our generic or MDF object, you can see. Now, if I go to generic or MDF object, you will see this one. Because I can't create anything, there is only one path for it. That is manage org pay and job structure to manage it. Only one path. But when you go to MDF or generic, I'm saying that you can go and create something, correct? And you can also manage it. So that's why there are two parts. That is again for generic also, I'm saying, because MDF and generic both can be managed from one place. So in order to create something or configure something new, you have to go to configure object definition. So I go to configure object definition. Okay. If you want to create a new data. And if you have to manage what you created, you have to go to manage data. Whatever I create here, if I have to manage it and make any values under it, just the way we did it for manage org pay job structure for location, whatever if we have to manage, we go to manage data. Okay. Getting me?
Yes.
Yeah. So if I have to create, let's say, business unit here, see, it will not throw an error. It will directly take you there, and you'll be able to create in there. Done. Now, what we will do, we will create a new object for you in the system, and I'll show you how to create new. We saw how to create fields. Now we will see how to create a new object for it. Okay. So for that, first, of course, I don't want to rush you on this. Just go to manage org pay and job structure. First, see all the objects that are there. See which are MDF and which are non-MDF. So what you have to do tomorrow, when you create this, please make a list, separate list, which comes under legacy foundation object or non-MDF, and which all have been moved to MDF till now.
How do you configure that?
Go to manage organization.
Okay, good. So,
Okay. Whichever throws you an error and says that this is migrated.
Yeah. Sorry.
And whichever you click and that shows this form, those are not migrated. So you have to take a separate list. Why I'm telling you, this will give you some idea about the basics.
Okay.
Please make a list of it. Tomorrow we will see how to create a new object that is generic or MDF. Okay? And I'll show you how to use that new object as well. Done?
Yeah, okay. Yes.
No,
Thank you so much.
no
Have a
problem.
good day.
You too. Have a great evening. Bye.
Bye.